Good evening and welcome to The Script. I'm your host, Isaac Paul. So, I always like to start with like a brief description of what the script is because that's important, right? So the script is the digital manifestation, the digital counterpart of the Tequila Tales. Now, what's the Tequila Tales? The Tequila Tales is a fully engaging and highly interactive discussion on love and relationships. I always like to tell what it is not because it is not a panel discussion. And the reason I say that is because, with panels, you're going and you're listening to other experts or other influencers or other people share their thoughts. But with Tequila Tales, our motto is with love, we all have a story to share. And so my goal is to get those authentic stories out of the very people that attend the events, right? This particular show is kind of like the brainchild of the Tequila Tales and blackdoctor.org. We're kind of in collaboration with them. Shout out to blackdoctor.org. It is an organization that's all about increasing the health, the mental, emotional, financial health of Black and brown people, and really just all people. But one of the things that we know as it relates to healthcare is that, your healthcare provider is incredibly important, right? And, one of the things that we've also learned is that sometimes people feel more comfortable when they are talking to healthcare practitioners that kind of understand them on a level that's beyond just what's on the chart, right? And that's where blackdoctor.org comes in. Blackdoctor.org is an organization that attempts to align people with healthcare practitioners of color, right? And it's not to be prejudicial. It's just sometimes it's hard to find, individuals that look like you that may share a cultural background such as you do. And so that is where blackdoctor.org comes in. And so when they reached out and we, have been doing this collaboration, which has been for almost a year at this point, it's just really been an exciting journey thus far, with the Tequila Tales, with us kind of being in that relationship space. It's almost like that's one of the things that I feel like sometimes we overlook is our like emotional health, right? We're always talking about our mental health. We're talking about our financial, we're talking about our physical, but sometimes I feel like we do overlook the emotional health. And it's not that I'm necessarily a relationship expert, but, been around the block a few times and, inside of the space that I'm in, I do interact with a lot of individuals and in these conversations come up a lot. And so I think that the script is just, it's just been a great experience thus far and having an opportunity to, tap into some areas and have some conversations that I feel like sometimes we overlook. Now, with this particular show is going to be a fun one because, we're talking about the Super Bowl and not just the Super Bowl, but specifically the halftime show. And I have a very special guest, right? This is a good friend of mine. This is a brother of mine that I have known for several years. We used to go to high school together. And listen, I don't know where you're watching from, right? I don't care where you are watching from, but in Chicago, the thing that we care about the most is what high school did you go to, right? And this gentleman I'm about to bring to the stage, we are Kenwood Broncos, okay? And so, maybe that don't mean nothing to y'all, but it means a lot to us. You know what I'm saying? And we are both class of 97. And so when this brother told me that he was available, I got really excited because he's an intelligent brother, great father, great husband, and just the kind of dude that I wanted to be able to share space with. And so, we're going to be exchanging quite a bit as it relates to just our views, not only about the Super Bowl show, but then just culture in general. So without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to my good friend, George Tober. George, what's going on, brother, man? How are you feeling, man?
I am phenomenal, man. Let's get this going. This is what the people want to see. This is for the culture.
Right.
Super excited about this one, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Listen. When I put it out there, right? And I didn't put it out there very long. I didn't have much time. You know what I'm saying? Because I honestly just came up with the idea like last night. I was like, oh shit. I was like, you know what? I need to reach out and just see, man, does anybody want to have a conversation with me? Because, we all, like, I know all of us have been online heavy for the past 24 hours, right? Reading like all these different takes and how do people feel about it and the whole nine. So I'm like, I don't want to just be up here talking alone. I need another brother, you know what I'm saying? So that we can kind of bounce off, and just see like, not only how we felt about it, but our reactions to like how the culture, you know, and just how people online look. I'm gonna say the culture and people online because they are not synonymous.
This
You
is
know
true.
what did my man say? Not like us. Everybody is not like us. So there's some people that feel a little different. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's right.
So
you know, I'm with you when you're right. So I'm not gonna say nothing.
Hey. So look. Let's start here. You know, because you know, in a moment we are gonna have a little bit of a watch party. So for those of y'all that are tapped in, you know what I'm saying, we are gonna watch it collectively. And also something that I do want to let everybody know. I'm sorry, just a quick housekeeping. Regardless of what platform you're watching it from, even if you are the only one in that particular room, in this system that I'm using, I have the ability to read comments, right? So like Ursuline, what's going on, Ursuline? Good evening, everyone. I have the ability to pull your comments up and interact with you all directly. So it doesn't matter if you're in one of the thicker rooms where there's a lot of people, or if you're the only one there, feel free to engage with us, right? Because, you know, I don't want it to just be our thoughts, right? Because we all got some thoughts. We all seen it. And I don't care what y'all say. I know you seen it because I seen the numbers, okay? And we'll get into that in a moment. But
hey, Isaac, they said it was the greatest thing ever watched out of anything on TV.
Listen.
Not sitcom. It said anything.
Listen. I'm hearing most watched thing on television since the moon landing.
The moon landing is the only thing, and that's just because statistically they couldn't accurately call the moon landing. They just say the moon landing is somewhere between 125 to 150. So they just estimated. They say this was definitely 133 million. Easy. Easy.
Okay. So in other words, this might be the most watched thing.
It probably is, because we got real data that we're talking about right now. And I approve this message.
Okay. All right. So George, let's start here. Like, you know, before we get into all the things, just tell me how you felt about it. Like what are your feelings on it? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, when you think about Kendrick Lamar, I think Man in the Garden summarized this whole performance. The first two lines, you know, you're talking about twice emotional stability, a sound body, and tranquility. Like there's got to be like a lyric to message with everything he says. And I immediately was like, he's trying to tell us all who we are, what we deserve. And that was immediately the entire time, from the time when he was sitting on the car to the time when he was under the street light with all the brothers with the grills rapping Man in the Garden. He just stripped the music from it and just rapped bar for bar. He was literally from the beginning trying to identify, we're here. It will be televised, but you picked the wrong guy, because I'm going to tell you flat out who we are and the truth of where we exist. And even just everything piqued my interest. The elevation, that he wasn't hovering over the stage like most acts at some point do. The fact that he was extremely grounded the entire time. From every element of it just jumped out at me from the jump. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. So how much of the symbolism would you say you caught off top? I'm curious to know, like, if you were, because I know on the level we were seeing a lot of stuff after the fact, right? In the breakdowns, and you know, and that's the cool thing about Kendrick is it's what you can catch, and then it's one of those things where you got to go back and watch it a few times, right? Almost like a really good movie. I remember one of my best friends, he loves that movie Tenet, you know, where they were kind of going in reverse and backwards. Right, where you see it and you kind of like, all right, it was all right, and then it's like, no, you need to watch it again, you know. And then by the time you watch it the third time, like Inception, you're like, oh snap, I didn't even recognize that was happening, right? And so some of us like that, but some people are bothered by that, you know what I'm saying? So how much did you catch up
Not
front?
Not a lick. As much as I'm going to display intellectually about this video now and this thing, I was so ready to see how he was going to drop the A minor line, but I was just distracted. I was completely distracted the entire time. And it wasn't until I went to the kitchen and I was like, wow, that was great. And I was like, and I was just replaying certain things in my head, and I'm like, wait a minute. And then I watched it again before bed that night because immediately Apple Music put it up. It was immediately on YouTube to stream and all that stuff. You could just go back and see it. And that's when I was like, oh, wow. And then I spent like 2 hours like reading comments.
Right. You were able to get an opportunity to just like fully nerd out at that point, right?
Absolutely. At that point. But no, I was all in the controversy at first, to be 100% honest with you. I was just like, man, I want to see when is he going to drop the A minor and how is he going to drop it? That's all I really wanted to see.
So like, did you hear how like, because I don't know how much you've been, and I know we both hip hop heads, right? So on a level, you know, we've been aware of the battle and just the pure elevation of it, you know, all the steps. And I'm gonna tell you what's been so wild about this, and I'm sure we'll touch on this again later, but just, you know, this battle has taken on a completely different life of its own, right? Where it's like it started out about Drake, and then it was like Drake versus Kendrick. And so, you know, we were all kind of just involved inside of the battle itself, right? And if I'm being very honest, in the early stages of the battle, right? And this might even be me telling on myself a little bit. And don't judge me on this, but I'm right. I'm not even gonna go as far as to say I was rooting for Drake, but I probably was in the early stages. Now, not once it became Kendrick versus Drake, but I didn't like how everybody was like dumping on him like from the jump. And I'm talking about before they really kind of singled out in them early stages. I was like, okay, this is kind of weird that it's like 8 versus 1. You know what I'm saying? Like go one-on-one. Like y'all are kind of dumping. And this is getting a little weird. And Drake is sitting out there rope-a-doping and like hitting everybody. When he came out with that, I'm trying to think of what that one joint was. The first real one that he did, I thought it was hard. You know what I'm saying? Where I was like, okay,
he was swinging. Like, he was swinging initially.
He came out swinging, right? So I was like, okay, that's how you come when your back is against the ropes and you gotta, you know, duke it out or whatever. So I was really kind of, you know, because I'm an underdog person, and anytime it's 20 people jumping on one, immediately, regardless of whether or not Drake is the top selling artist, he got to come. I don't know if you ever watched kung fu movies like Ip Man and shit. You ever seen them? You know what I'm saying? Where there was this one scene where Ip Man was fighting like 30 niggas. You know, like that to me, like you can't help. But I don't care if you're a kung fu master. 30 people, nigga, I need to watch you win because that looks unfair. You know what I'm saying? So early stages, I was kind of like rooting for him. Like, all right, nigga, go on get it. You know what I'm saying? But then the moment that they kind of paired up and it was okay, so now we into the main event, right? All right, now let's see what we got. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, Kendrick been my guy. Kendrick is the reason why, I'm being honest, I stopped doing music, right? Like I was knee deep in it. But when I heard Good Kid, Mad City, I was like, okay, I'm nice with the bars and I'm good with the beats, but I'm not that right there, and I don't have that level of passion.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I kid you not, exactly the whole story. That man made me shift and say, you know what? I'm not operating in genius level talent when it comes to music. But then I thought to myself, but you know what I am genius level talent at? And I thought about this thing that I did that was initially Wine and Love that became Tequila Tale. So like literally that man's album made me say, like, not am I good enough to get in the game? Because I felt like I was, but it was, are you operating at that level? Like I was like, this dude is incredible.
I think Isaac, you've mentioned a couple of things, man. Like, you know, it's like Jay-Z said, you can change anything. That's just the top layer, man. You was who you was before you got here. Like you've been this guy as long as I've known you. This is not a surprise at all. And so, like, I think that when you talk about what Kendrick is doing, Kendrick is literally doing what I just said. Drake, we know who you are from jump.
Right.
You can show up at the party with bullet holes and smoke coming out your back. You can do whatever you want to do to talk about you rolling in the 6 with the gods, Little G. You can do all that stuff all day long. But at the end of the day, we remember Degrassi. We remember Wheelchair Jimmy. Like, and so
but George,
it's like,
though, do you think they do though? Do you think they do?
They do. And that's why I think that people like that only go so far. The people who are calling him out, the people who have murdered him. We talking about people like Common, who told him he was Canada Dry. Right? We literally had shirts and all with the ginger ale on it. Told him he was Canada Dry. We talking about Buddy with the Clips.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like we all of those guys who are of a certain age range, the recognized real guys from the 90s and early 2000s, they know.
Yeah,
and they're only gonna let this go, but so far.
Yeah, but see, you know what I think ended up happening though? I feel like everybody was cool with what he was doing, and because in the early stages, one thing about Drake is, and I've said it in the past, like I feel like he's a chameleon. He can adopt the style, study it and mimic it to almost near perfection. Sure. Now, I think that many of us, like especially from our generation and beyond, in his early stages, he was attempting to impress the OGs. So he wanted to impress the Jay-Z's. He wanted to impress the Nas's. He wanted to impress the DMX's. So he was coming with certain kind of bars. His subject content was about certain kinds of things. His beats was a certain way. And so we was all rocking with him. But the bigger he became, I think that desire to remain popular started making him pay attention to a different type of audience, right? And you saw that shift because certain people that he was like clicking up with to do albums, it's like, okay, like even like 21 Savage, it's like, I don't hate 21 Savage, but it's like, bro, if you're supposed to be one of the GOATs and lyrically you're saying that you're up there, 21, I don't care what anybody, 21 Savage is not a lyricist. Like, and so for you to be doing whole ass albums with him, that's when it started. And then you look up and it's like he with Sexy Red and all of them, and it's like, all right, bro, like this is getting weird now because I'm watching an almost 40-year-old man try to lean too much into performing for, like 20-year-olds, you know what I'm saying? Which I get the desire to remain relevant, but remain relevant by pulling them up to your level. Don't remain relevant by trying to mimic a 20-year-old because it don't look cool no more. It looks weird when a 40-year-old is dressing like a 20-year-old trying to do the same things. It's like, bro, you supposed to have kids and you know what I'm saying? I ain't saying like be on some smooth jazz shit or whatever, but like when we think about the evolution of Jay-Z just gave us 444 a couple years ago. And we all knew collectively, this is the greatest album this year. I don't care what nobody say. Young heads and old heads had to respect that Jay-Z continues to pull you up to his space because he's talking about shit that you might not know about. You know what I'm saying? He's introducing you to new stuff. I don't like it when I feel like people take their art and their art is, let me just keep giving you the same stuff. Like, nah, bro, like elevate me. You know what I'm saying? Like force me to come to where that's as crazy as Kanye is. And I'm not a fan of his for his recent activity or whatever. But from an artistic perspective, Kanye forces you to stretch into his new zone when he's giving you music. He's going to create. He ain't trying to ride no wave. He's trying to create. And that's been my biggest gripe about Drake in his last maybe 3-4 years, where I'm like, all right, you ain't giving me what you used to give me. And I'm like, I can't even say it's because I'm getting old. It's like, no, I think
it's not, man. And I'm gonna give you a little grace, man. Let's just be honest. Drake has always just been a rapper. He was never a hip hop artist. And a lot of people don't want to admit that. Right. But art does what it's doing right now. It makes you, whether you hate it or love it, it makes you disgusting. And that's what you're saying when you talk about a Kanye, when you talk about a Jay-Z. These are artists. When you talk about Nas going on a 3 to 6 album run with Hit Boy, those are artists literally showing up and just giving you their art, saying thank you for listening, and then they go do whatever they're going to do for the next 2 to 5 years. And so I think when you mentioned a couple of elements Drake's background, where he's known from, is acting. He can
Right,
show
right,
up as
right,
much as whoever he decides to show up as. But
right.
at the end of the day, he's a rapper. He's not a hip hop artist.
Mm, mm.
And the comments are probably killing me right now. But I'm just being
Listen.
honest.
If not now, they will later on when we post the content, because I know it's gonna come off
Yeah.
like we sitting here on some Drake hate, and it's like really it's not. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, during the battle, like again, to go back to the battle, I felt like he held his own the entire time. Beyond Not Like Us, which was the best song of the entire battle for obvious reasons, because it had all the elements, right? It had everything that you wanted. It had the catchy hook, which that alone kills everything, right? It had the catchy beat. You got a hook in the beat, you already got a smash hit, right? So
Right.
he clearly won because of that. But if we're talking about my favorite song out of the battle, real talk, it was actually Family Matters. I thought Family Matters was a slept on heater.
Very
but
solid.
The only reason that it never could breathe, because the moment he released that, a few hours later, my man hit you with the grams. Meet the grams. I was like, I felt so sorry for Drake, bro. I felt sorry for him. I was like, oh damn, dog. I was like, oh shit,
I don't know what to tell you. You almost had him.
You almost had him, bro. If that song could have breathed for like 3 days, to a week, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that the battle plays out differently, but I'm saying Meet the Grams took all the air out of Drake's kill shot. That was supposed to be his kill shot, because I'm telling you, he gave you 3 songs in one.
It was
spit fire through all of it. I heard it. I was like, oh, this is hard. I'm driving to the crib. Me and my wife went to dinner. I'm driving to the crib like, oh, listen, y'all. Hey, Kenny better come. And then my cousin sent me some other shit like, hey, here goes something that Kenny just dropped. And I listened to it, and I was like, okay, this ain't a banger, but this is surgical. I was like, this is going to hurt this man's spirit in the way that he is doing. Like Kendrick is a surgeon, man. He is a surgeon. And
Kendrick's so much of a surgeon that song, Slick took a dig, and this is just my humble opinion. Meet the Grams took a slick dig at Drake, dropping Kanye West and Andre 3000 song too early. In cadence, in delivery. And that's the thing with Kendrick and this entire thing. That's just like, there's so many subtle, like Serena Williams crip walking next to the X button on the control pad. Like,
come on, man. I didn't catch that.
Come on, man.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good.
She's near the X part of the control joint, and literally just crip walking next to it. I mean, there's just so many subtle things that were done that were almost like the micro cuts. You slowly build out slow. And the last time I saw Drake was on a podcast, he had Drake literally talking about, man, rap is just weird now. I don't know.
Right. Wait a minute. But not just that, on a podcast with like white boys from the UK or something. You know what I'm saying?
People.
He started hanging out with all of these weird people. And that's why when like all of these cats, dog, that's standing for Drake, I'm like, listen, y'all, listen. And I keep seeing all of these Drake defense posts, right? I don't know where I'm caught in the algorithm where they like, you keep reading this bullshit, so I'm gonna keep right. I get you not, bro. I will go in and I will see people, like, we even know it. I ain't gonna call his name out, but one of our buddies from high school, he is like, these people feel like they have to carry the torch for this 38-year-old man. Like, bro, you do know he rich as hell. Like, I think he's gonna be okay, but like,
he's their medication, man. He's their medication.
And that's what I'm trying to figure out.
We on the script, so let's really talk about it. He's their medication.
But like, why? I think that's the thing I don't know if I get. I don't really get that.
It's the trauma. It's the reason why in my humble opinion, the reason why this whole thing is split the way it is because music has always been the thing that speaks directly to the core of our soul and doesn't ask permission. It literally says, I'm going to meet you right where you are. And that's why right now we're in the catch a vibe season of a lot of music where people want to medicate themselves and just feel good. Everybody wants to listen to a track and then have their Halle Berry Monsters Ball moment and then move on with the rest of their life. And I'm saying that, like, when you interrupt a person's Halle Berry Monsters Ball moment and try to teach them a society lesson, you're going to get a lot of vitriol because they were expecting to show up and get their daily dose of feel good. And so I think that's why you have so many people champion for Drake. And here's the thing. If you watch the ABC News Impact series where they highlight Drake versus Kendrick in their most recent one.
Okay.
And that's Impact series. It's a 30-minute documentary, right?
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch this.
And they literally will say that they interviewed Kendrick's teacher. And Kendrick's teacher said, if you want to dance, listen to Drake. If you want to think, listen to Kendrick. And the reality is that at the Super Bowl, nobody's trying to think. We're going to eat all the foods that we shouldn't eat, drink all the stuff we want to drink, and have a good time. And they just did not want a message at that time. But I guarantee you, in the days to follow, as time continues to let this art sit and mature, it's going to be there like a great botanical series of on the shelf where you can just go back years from now and pull this out and blow the dust off of it, and you're going to be like, wow.
Yes.
And that's what art does.
And that's what art
very
does.
well.
You know what? Hold on. I want to share something with you. Because I saw this, and this was something that I wanted to go over. This particular comment, and this was from another post. You know, I've been on Threads lately, but it was someone that had posted a clip of the video, and she was more or less kind of talking about like how this upset, you know, the MAGA America. And it because of the fact that it was showing Black solidarity, and the fact that even in the face of this onslaught, that this is like you know, this is how we're moving. And so this one brother was like, bro, it's not the music. K. Dot got bars. He just delivered it in an underwhelming manner, and he put too much light on Drake instead of himself. And this woman responds, it's art, love. When real artists make art, they aren't doing it to entertain. They're doing it to provoke emotion and, more importantly, thought. Y'all wanted an amusement park. He gave y'all a museum.
I love
if
it.
you are connected at all to the source, as a Black person, your spider senses should be tingling right now. Now is not the time to party and feed ourselves mindless entertainment. It's time to squabble up. Kendrick was calling us to think. Ain't shit to celebrate right now. We got work to do.
Hey, I need to find that girl's cash app.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And so that's I feel like that's where you just like that's the space you was just in at. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I think that's the part that is so fascinating. At times it can be frustrating, but I also try to grow enough to be able to see the situation as it is and not just how I want it to be, right? But I try to meet people where they're at, you know what I'm saying? And not be condescending because a person isn't at the space that maybe we're at, but kind of be sensitive to what it is that they're feeling. But on another level, I think I do at the same time still get a little agitated by, especially us as Black people. You know, there's a point where I don't care what side you was rooting for in the battle. This is a Black man on the highest stage. And right now, if you're talking about how trash it was and you're going out of your way to talk shit about Serena and downgrade her on all these public platforms, bro, you're siding with the ops. You're siding with the ops. And it's way too much of that's happening right now publicly, right? Because I don't know if people understand how under attack we are from every conceivable area, but yet you all feel like y'all don't realize that this was bigger than Drake. You know what I'm saying? Like, get out of your feelings for a moment and understand that what he just gave you in front of Donald Trump, who was sitting there watching it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, knowing that this was going to piss off all of white America, because I'm seeing a lot of posts, and the majority of people that didn't like it, they all look a certain way, ironically enough. You know what I'm saying? But when I start seeing us start to kind of, yeah, and we talking stuff, I'm like, yeah, see, y'all the ones that Harriet Tubman was like, yeah, y'all the ones that she had to leave behind. Y'all the ones that she had to put down. And it's like everybody's being so cavalier right now. And you know, it on one level, it's like, yeah, it had a deeper purpose, but then on another level, we're not gonna act like this dude didn't just give you bars, man. We're not gonna act like the camera angles wasn't gorgeous. We're not gonna act like the colors and the cinematography. Like, y'all, like, don't downplay it as if this is just some woke, you know, slave music. Bro, are y'all not looking at the stage? Are y'all not looking at these aerial views? Every piece of this is intentional. This shit is beautiful. How are y'all not seeing that?
And the fact that it's done by a rapper, like rappers aren't notorious for that much artistic expression for that long, which is why I think there's been less than 5, I want to say, that have performed Super Bowl, because they haven't seen us be able to be that creative. For 10 to 13 minutes. I mean, how do you maintain an audience for 10 to 13 minutes, pacing back and forth doing this? Like, with a mic doing this, like, it's only going to garner so much attention, right? And so that's what I meant when you asked me what were my thoughts. Only thing I noticed was like, man, that's a pretty low stage for him to literally just be on the field. The only stage he's had were the buttons for the control pad, and then where the G and X was sitting on with the stairs were like really the only elevated parts of that performance. But the rest of it, he's on the ground with you, having this like dialogue, walking 100 yards back and forth. They covered that whole field back and forth, and I'd at least give him a strong 80 yards. Back and forth.
Look, in doing that, and here's what nobody really, like, a few people I've seen talk about this without a hype man, without a hype man, and spitting,
or a backtrack. He didn't have
or a backtrack, or a backtrack, spitting the entire time. There was a level of performative. The only person that I see do stuff like that as an MC typically would be like, in terms of really trying to give you bars live, would be like a Busta Rhymes, and even he has Spliff Star. You see what I'm saying? Because that takes a lot. That takes a lot, like breath control, to be spitting and saying stuff, and then he's self-editing himself because he knows the words that's gonna cause issues with the FCC or get a lawsuit or whatever. So it's like he had to memorize this performance, and this is the same performance that he's doing other places where the curse words are in it. But no, he's so into his space where he's knowing what to, pull out, all while thinking about the choreography. It's like, y'all, if y'all can't appreciate that, I don't even know. Like, we in two different dimensions right now of what it is that we just watched.
To literally be able to, in the same set of bars, hit out the A minor line, but then call you not do the certified pedophile part. Like he said,
no one even want to say it,
and then wop, and then went to, and the only reason they A minor safe is because it's probably trying to strike a chord, which is an actual chord, and it's probably A minor. You can get away with that.
Listen, I know for a fact that they had those attorneys looking over everything tooth and nail to determine, right? Like what can be said and what couldn't be said. And Kendrick knew it. Like, okay, all right, I ain't gonna ruin y'all Super Bowl, but I'm gonna push the limit. I'm gonna push the limit. And it like, okay, so without further ado, because we didn't say that,
let's check it out again. Let's watch
it. I got it queued up. So look, we just like I got a couple of comments. Hold on real quick. Okay, so my buddy Also Fly said Drake will be okay. Nas destroyed Jay-Z with either. J bounce back. But look, Also Fly, real talk. I agree with you, but where I disagree was Jay-Z knew to shut the hell up, right? Like when you lose, all right, lick your wounds. you still rich, you know what I'm saying? Like, move around. But this dude is got lawsuits pending.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, everything that he's doing is making it hard for even me. Like, I'm a fan. I'm not like a stan, but I'm a fan. But I'm like, bro, I can't even play your music with the windows down right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, you out here got me looking extra light skinned. You know what I'm saying? Like you to have cuts back in the day, but you doing some stuff right now that is literally gonna put a target on my back driving through the streets. Like, oh, okay, he one of them old Drake dude. Like, no, dog. Like, dude, come on, dog. Like, ease off, give us some heat, come back with a new album, and be you again. But he's, you know what I'm saying? Like, he don't know how to do what everybody else has done in the past, which is accepting defeat. And that's an ego thing. That's an ego thing when you cannot accept that someone, you thought you was up here and you thought everybody else was down here. And now you realize that my man's is up here and you really right here. And he's going through a crisis of conscience. You know what I'm saying? What did he say? He said the same as Jordan LeBron debate. Jordan defenders would defend their guy to the end, and LeBron defenders would defend him. And that's true. That is very true.
Forever. Like, they will literally.
Casey in the building. She said, y'all watching from Arizona. What'd you say? This is a performance. I'll keep going back to, just like, this is America. Right. So, you know,
again, what I mentioned before, what I say to you earlier, we're talking about art. Like, art will make you revisit this over and over again.
That it will. All right. So like I said, you know, we gonna go ahead and let's go ahead and cue this up because you know, we kind of have to, right?
Why not?
The National Football League welcomes you to the Apple Music Super Bowl 59 halftime show.
First time watching this again since the Super Bowl in its entirety.
Oh man!
Salutations!
With this lens you have now,